So, so welcome, Moka, to Pocket Pals, built for the Pocket Pals group.
Hi,
so, um,
everybody.
so
Hope you have a nice Saturday. Is it Saturday
it
today?
is.
Yeah.
I think it's Saturday.
Yeah.
I've got a
Well, it's
thing.
still Saturday.
Well, I've got the two babies. I'm lucky they're asleep, and my wife is now asleep, so everyone's napping, and so we get
Yeah.
our
Now we
chance.
have a peace and quiet.
This is quiet. It's all quiet. What is this quiet?
I just had to say I made a notes
Yeah.
and I watched them by mistake, but it's fine.
Yeah, well, it
Yeah.
shows you that we're not going to talk with notes. This is going to be going with the flow. So
Go with the
absolutely
flow.
fine. So yeah, Monica. I mean, obviously, I've known you for 3 years now.
I'm loving
3 years, gosh, feels like ages. But yeah, and I've started, and really the energy and the feeling I get off you is that you're quite a like a high priestess kind of person, and you really kind of have this knowledge beyond knowledge. So it would be really nice to kind of capture those things, and you want to talk about emotions and kind of mindset, which I think is a really, really important thing to have. So I'll let you start.
Yeah, I choose this topic because, or not, yeah, topic because I think it's important to discuss like what is exactly mindset and how we can maintain the mindset. From mindset, like it's such a complex, right? Like, what is mindset for you?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
right? Like mindset.
I mean,
What is for you mindset?
well, I find that mindset could be like how you perceive a certain scenario, and there could be the short-term mindset, and there could be long-term mindset. So
Mm,
long-term mindset could be optimistic, could be pessimistic, and the short-term could be pessimistic, but could also be optimistic. So you could be walking into a situation. So you walk into a bar and you're thinking, "Oh, this is terrible." Whereas when I'm in a long-term situation, I'm thinking, "Okay, what am I going to do with my career?" I'm not going to. I'm going to think, "Okay, actually, I'm going to ascend upwards." Essentially,
mm,
that's how I see it. But
mm. For me, basically, mindset is how you, like you said, perceive and see things. And it's a complex sort of like emotional and the way how you are, like what's your inner world inside of you. So this is mindset for me. So I don't have mindset like in the short term or a long term. I see mindset as a like you're stamped,
mm.
like within yourself.
So
And it's like a stamp.
like an interface between
Yeah,
how you communicate with the world and how
yeah.
the world sees you.
And it's sort of like in connection with emotions, how you see things from your own lenses.
Mm.
So this is mindset for me. I don't know if I'm correct, but this is how I see. People when I interact with people, um, what they see and how they react and how they speak and how they behave and how they understand even the language. This is for me their mindset.
So what?
Does it make sense?
Yeah. So like what I see is like it's how they interact with you or how they
Mhm.
interact with certain people.
It's how you interact overall, right?
Mm.
I mean, when you're meeting certain people, like you said, they can be either toxic, negative.
Mm.
You see the traits, little traits within them,
Yeah.
or you can see, oh wow, she or he is such a positive,
Mm.
like person, or so this is how I see mindset in people. It's like a stamp, it's like a blueprint, or
Mm.
they are being like inner being within
How
themselves.
they. But do you
Yeah,
think people could have a positive mindset, but at the same time be quite a toxic person?
that's interesting because it's all connection with the what they go through at that moment in their life phase.
Mm.
So there are people who can be positive, but because of their lenses, what they go through, maybe they are depressed or they go through hard time, or like you just said, short-term mindset can be they had just bad experience,
Mm.
or when it comes even to relationships, maybe he or she was meeting not the right, not even right people. I don't want to put these, like right or wrong, maybe they had different experiences with different people, and this is how their mindset was like curved.
Mm. Yeah.
you know.
But what I mean is that they could think that they're doing what they're doing is absolutely fine.
Mm,
And like I'm trying to think of an example. Like let's say, and this is just a completely mental
mm,
example, but let's say
mm,
someone really enjoys axing people up. No, just saying that they really enjoy it and they get a lot of pleasure and a lot of fun out of it. Obviously, that's quite toxic, you see. So,
yeah.
or let's make it a bit more mellow. But let's say they're a CEO of a company, right? And they love what they do. They're providing energy for people, but they're also, let's say, messing up the environment, so to speak.
Mm.
Can you not? Would it be that some people's mindset, because even though they see the world in a positive lens, that they're actually being toxic as well, and they can't see that? Do you see what I mean?
Mm. I think it's on their own, what they want to achieve, right?
Hmm.
If you want to achieve something,
Hmm.
like if you have your own rules, or if you set up a goal
Hmm.
and you say, oh, I'm gonna be in here,
Hmm.
you sort of like have to maybe sacrifice something. But when it comes to toxicity, what is toxic in this environment?
Hmm.
Like, if you're dealing with people, we are all individuals and we are all so different.
Hmm.
And that's why we are, like you're walking into a jungle, right? And you're
Hmm.
meeting different animals. So it's up to you how you maintain your own journey
Hmm.
towards that goal.
Yeah, yeah.
And of course, you're meeting lions, ants, or whatever type of
Their
animals,
natures.
they're natures, Scorpios, But you cannot really. What I discovered with me personally when I'm on that journey is that you cannot change people. You
Mm,
cannot. You can just change the way how you respond and react towards certain situations, or people's other people mindset, because not everybody will agree with you what you're saying,
mhm.
but it doesn't mean you are not sort of correct, or you know
Yeah,
it's very.
very nuanced. Sorry,
Yeah.
this is where I kind of think. I
No,
always think
it's
of
okay.
nuances where, like,
Yeah.
a hero of one story, and they can be a hero because they think what they're doing is right, and there's a rule that they follow, and
Mm,
they've saved so many people. But what would the cost be? Who are
mm,
they sacrificing? Who are they leaving behind? What
mm,
are they leaving behind, so to
mm,
speak? And I find that funny. I find that sorry funny. I find that fascinating that there are some people who think they're doing absolutely fine, and
mm.
not even. It's not
I don't
even
even.
I'm doing fine.
Mm,
It's I'm doing all right. That look what I've got. But they don't see the damage they're causing.
mm. Maybe they are not in touch with themselves,
Hmm.
So what it is, how we can, because there are so many things, when it comes to mindset, and as well how we, like you said, how we perceive certain goals.
Hmm.
Um, I think it's as well like how you in touch with your own self,
Hmm.
because there is this old saying, you're not gonna do something that you don't want to be done on yourself, or
So, yeah, yeah.
in that sense. But when it comes to achieving certain goals, or um, if you really see that there is damage, but what type of damage, because we're talking about in very what like
Very
very
yes, yeah,
like
yeah. Like
wide
esoteric.
scenarios. So I'm like, how
How
to
to,
even
I,
how to
I
even
suppose, I suppose, yeah. Let's. Yeah, you're right. I should probably make it more kind of personal. But have you ever seen someone who's?
because there are people who, if they are toxic and they're not even realizing they're toxic, of course they're gonna do damage, because they are
Mm,
not even aware,
yeah.
they're doing toxicity around them,
Mm,
because of their ego, or they are not, like I said, they are not even they're not even aware they are doing that.
mm,
And to be in this consciousness level is very difficult, challenging to break through
mm.
this, through this bubble.
Like level of awareness.
Yes, level of
It's
awareness.
quite
Yeah.
tricky.
Mm,
Yeah, I mean, because another thing, like in terms of like a mindset. Sorry, it's because I think of scientists and
mm,
particular scientists that I know, or
mm,
even doctors, and they have
mm,
quite a negative mindset.
mm.
But if they
Right.
didn't have that negative, because if like for them, they're like, I'm going to go on the theory that this doesn't exist. So I'm going to go on the theory that putting a needle in someone's arm isn't going to help them. And then they see the evidence, they do an experiment. Okay, here's evidence where it does work. And then they go through a theory, and then they try and disprove the theory or prove the theory. And they'll only base it on those blocks, right? And in order to, so they will say, that's why a lot of people who really like, they go, right, we're going to just follow science and science only. We're not going to believe in God. And it's almost like a contract. They're going, we're not going to believe in God. And I get it, because actually, if they don't do that, then they can't go through, and they can't base on how it will help someone physically, how like a blood transfusion will help, or a certain medicine, or putting radiation into someone will kill their cancer. If they go around going, okay, fine, what we're going to do is we're going to do a bloodletting today, or we're going to drill a hole through, like they used to do in the medieval times. They go, no, okay, we're going to disprove that this happens. We're going to show, because they have that negative mindset. But I suppose that's not negative in emotion. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I'd like to see what you think about that bit. I'm throwing curveballs at you. Sorry. It's like, Moka, I'm giving you such intensity. This is, how about this situation? How about that situation? For my chats, I'm like this as well. So yeah, do apologize.
Yeah, I love you. The thing is, when it comes to science, I'm not a scientist, but like you just mentioned, in Middle Ages, in the
Middle Ages, like
Middle Ages, and back in time, and even through the history of humanity, the scientists were doing lots of tests on humans, even animals and everything, to achieve certain goals. But I'm not here to say like if it's right or wrong.
No, I'm sorry.
On some hand, it helped discover huge, like, what could help us and what could not help us, right? And even when Hitler, Nazi and everything, they were doing lots of really horrified experiments on humans and babies and mothers and twins, and how long people can be without air, and how long people can stay in a gas chamber, and those kind of really dreadful and really horrible experiments.
So sorry, we just cut off because my wife had to get some milk for the baby. So we're back to mindset.
It's all good. So we were talking about the crazy scientists and they were Nazis and what experiments they were doing, and I was saying or explaining that I do not approve or agree with the word negative and positive. I'm not here to judge or to say what is right or what is wrong, right? We're not here to
I think there are some things that you can very clearly say, like,
okay, it's not right
burning
to,
6 million.
Absolutely.
But I think there's a lot of nuances.
I wasn't back in that age, I wasn't living.
No.
And I imagine I'm 200 years old.
200 years old.
My knowledge is.
How do you keep your back?
But I sort of like, because of those experiments, and I'm sorry if offends people or say like, oh my God, what she's saying, but it brought certain knowledge, right, for humanity.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm approving that, but it brought certain knowledge, and even those experiments were really like, whoa, this is like,
they did lots of experiments with twins, and then seeing how one would behave, another, and seeing if there's a connection. I think it was World War One with a guy who, I don't know if it was mustard gas or some sort of gas.
Something with gas. And he was like, he had a nickname, like the most, I don't even know, but he was the one doctor who was doing those horrible experiments. And
I think it was Hugh. I might be wrong.
I don't even know. Google
it. I saw some human that's actually a celebrity called Human is a nice guy.
But don't you think like even these days we are living in what 21st century. We have certain, like you said, like experiments, like we had COVID recently, and who knows, like if it was another experiment or not experiment, we really don't know sometimes what is really going on behind the scenes. If the mindset is negative or positive, do we really know if it's negative or positive right now and right here? Do you understand? But I wanted to more, like talk about your own mindset or my own mindset, or how we can like what's beneficial, or what's the tools to use to be more like maybe like mindful, or how we can curb our mindset, because it's all program, it's all habits, right? We are all like, when you're born in this world, you are a program of your parents, your ancestors, the environment how you grew up, where the environment was created for you, and you're like a sponge, and you're sucking all these, behaviors unconsciously and unconsciously, and as well the habits from your dad, from your mom, from your siblings, or not even like from everyone, from your grandfather and grandmother, from your family. And this is part of your mindset as well. At least this is how I perceive this, And if you again, it's all connection, how you want to work with your own self and how you want to evolve, right? And as well, it's part of your ego. Ego is not actually bad. Ego is like an engine which supporting you. But if ego is met with the right goal, it's like very good engine, don't you think? And this is part of the mindset as well. Even the language, what we are talking now. I'm Slovakian, so my understanding of English is completely different than yours is, right? You understand English differently than I do, and this is a fact. And I'm not trying to say that you are more or I'm less, or I'm more and you less. No, this is actually how it is, because even language shapes the way how we think.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, an example of that was, I don't know if you remember, there's an MP who called people who come from dinghy boats recently vermin or invasions and stuff like that. And people like, do not say that, because that's going to go to a dark place very quickly, and even things like using words, or even things in newspapers, as words they're using are affecting people's mindsets, which is fascinating.
This is the thing, because in Slovakia, when I was growing in Slovakia, I understand German as well. So each language has their own normalities. So in my language, or the mentality of Slovakia, or how we, like Europeans, they call us East Europeans, think. Even now at work, I see differences in the way how we behave and how English people behave. And I'm not Eastern Europeans say, oh, again, no offense. Yeah, here, I'm just explaining here.
It's okay. Please get offended. It's absolutely fine. This is an open podcast.
So we say like some people, they don't have common sense here, or why they think like this is stupid, right? But I see that because I grew up in Slovakia, I understand German, and I understand, I've been traveling a little bit of world, and again, I understand language. And if you start understanding that behind each language, there is certain mentality and different understanding of words, and even the way, even now, I have now lots of colleagues from Spain and Thai and China and everything, and I can see the differences, how they understand language or certain words. So maybe we Eastern European, we come like we are too fast to judge, or we say, oh, this is like, whoa, because we don't think, we think differently. You can say we have not, we perceive things completely differently than guys from UK. And it's not about that we are, and sometimes we don't understand you. Even the way certain words, like
certain phrases.
Phrases or something. But it's not because we are stupid, we just don't understand. Like, I sometimes don't understand certain fancy words, or British doesn't mean like I'm stupid.
No, of course
it's
not.
just
You understand more language.
Exactly. And I started realizing that even now, after I live here for like more than 15 years, I stopped understanding Slovakian language in certain depth, and I'm like, gosh.
There's a depth, yeah.
So sometimes it's not about that person is stupid or whatever, don't understand, but we need to dig more deeper, like where this person comes from, what language he speaks, how he or she understands, or how she or he perceives the language of certain words. Because in every, like, for instance, I'm gonna post video later, there's this amazing language person, and she studies languages, and even she says that in certain countries, or they don't even have like shades of colors, or they don't have time like we say. Oh, it's what is now time? It's 2:36. They don't even count the same how we count. Yeah, when you see a group of birds outside, or pigeons or whatever, and you start counting them, in certain countries they don't. They start, oh, there is 10 of them, and for them it doesn't matter the accurate number of birds or whatever.
It's like a group.
Yeah, they perceive differently. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I in Punjabi, when they say someone's passed away, they say they've expired.
Here you go.
And it's really funny because I remember when my uncle passed away when I was 16, and my Punjabi cousin was saying to everyone, yeah, just to let you know, our uncle expired. And this is why he's selling fruit.
You see, so we even I think in Spain language they don't really put a blame. So for instance, if you are here and by accident I dropped the cup and the cup is broke, we in English, even in Slovakia, we say she broke the cup. In Spain, say the cup broke by accident. So then they don't put the blame. Do you see the difference?
Do you think that's a good thing?
This is as well part of building your mindset, that the blue stand, like I was talking previously. So there is so many things, from where there are so many lenses we have. We how we see the situation or that person or whatever. Some people, when they look at you or look at me, oh look, she's white chick with blonde hair, he's
brown hairy man.
Yeah, do you understand? So and maybe that's why people who are blind they born without, like, with how you call it,
as in they can't see.
Yeah, they can see, or there are people they don't see colors, or maybe that's why they're born to show us that this is not actually like how we should perceive humans around us, right? Because they don't see us as we see. So this is fascinating, isn't it? When you really, really tap into depth of your own mindset and you start really peeling those layers, like how you understand, how you perceive, how you see the situation. I have lots of as well at work, lots of African employees as well, and it was so beautiful situation. I was in a hurry. I wanted to eat something. I had just my jacket, on, and I just sat down next to this lovely person. And she looked at me and I said, hi, hi. And she was like, and she straight away said, look how beautiful her lenses were. And she was like, yeah, I can see, because I didn't see the other person in front of me. And I said to her, oh, gosh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you, because I'm so focused on my food. And she says, yeah, I can see you're rushing because you have your even jacket on. You see, straight away she picked up, not from this negative, like some people would say, oh, look how rude she is. Like she didn't even say, do you understand? But she took it from completely. So you can see that her mindset is so beautiful. And even I said to her, thank you so much that you can read me so well. Do you understand?
So that they see the sensory bits rather than the rules of the culture of that time. Because actually,
Exactly.
there's something that you really pointed out, and actually something I use at work as well. When there's a failure, because obviously I do a lot, I have to find failures everywhere. That's my job. I'm a tester. And what I always say to people is I don't blame the person, blame the process.
Exactly.
Right. So when the cup falls over, you'd be like, oh, the cup's fallen over. Then you start thinking, so instead of going, right, okay, that person's a problem, they're clumsy, you're thinking, how can we give, put a situation where the cup, so maybe in the future you could have a plastic cup, or we can put carpet on the floor. So I don't know, something, that would help the process rather than pinning on the person, which would put them in a negative mindset as well.
Exactly.
And that would echo.
And as well at work, there are so many things like when you start a new job, you don't know the procedure, you don't know maybe what the right thing to do. Yeah. So you start doing it how you think is the best, right? And what I came across, like, it was more like they were blaming me and they were saying, like, oh, you have no common sense or no knowledge or something similar to that. And I'm like, hold on, no. How I should, like, I created the phrase, so I should know what I should know. Do you understand?
Yeah.
How I should know what I should know if all what you do is completely opposite how I think. So it's all about education as well, and training people and explaining them the procedure. And even as you, because I'm not like that, I never judge on, or I never say something negative. I really understand people. I really say, like, oh, maybe she or he didn't know. Like, let me talk to them. Let me explain them. Like, maybe let's find out the reason behind that, right? Not straight away, oh, she's stupid.
Yeah.
Or oh, he doesn't have common sense.
Because that can be very quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So instead of like fast judging people, just take a pause, because you can as well, like I say, emotions are motions, everything is in motion.
Energy,
right?
motion.
It's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
And what you can do, you can react or you can not react, right? This is only maybe two options what you could do. And as well, not only reaction, like reaction by word, but as well control your thoughts. When you start really listening to your thoughts, you start understanding what your mindset is as well. Right? And I'm not trying to say, like, you should always doubt yourself, or because there are people out there where they are narcissists and toxic people,
And they don't doubt themselves and have a positive mindset. Yeah.
Great manipulators, like, really. But when you start noticing, when you go in touch with your own intuition and your own self and your own common sense and your own knowledge within, you start smelling those people out, right? Don't you think?
You can hear them, but especially narcissists, they say I, me, I, and everything's linked. You can see it.
So everything is based on how you can not absorb, how you can observe other people, even body language, the tone of the language, their own mindset, their own origin, how they really are. And then you start realizing, okay, this person is the way how he is. Because please, guys, remember, we are not here to change anybody here. At least this is what I'm coming from. We are just interacting with each other and trying to maintain some kind of like a normal, positive and flow of energy, right? But of course, if you need to stand for your own rights, you are right to do that. If you feel offended or if you feel, but first, I always say, when you have to react consciously. If you have anger, express that consciously. Say, oh gosh, what you just said, it made me really angry. Or how you reacting, it's really making me angry right now, and let's see how the other person reacts, because this is as well what happening to me at work as well. And when we had these heart-to-heart conversations, I realized that the other person is not, either they're not aware, because not a lot of people act how we act, and especially normal worldly environment. So when they have no idea what spiritual work is, or shadow work, or connection with your inner child,
or even therapy,
or whatever, when they are not even aware of those scenarios, or like they are, when they are not even aware, you cannot really talk to people on the same level how you could talk to me, or like how you talk to you, right? I mean, it's completely different, like, levels, right? So I think first we should establish what level that person is. When I'm saying level, I'm not putting anybody down, because we are not high down,
No.
I really, my understanding, even low energies, we need low energies, not only high. I'm not into this cult, high vibrations, only high vibrations.
You have to always be optimistic. Stay optimistic.
Always high vibrations. No, if you're not in touch with your lower vibrations, even anger, frustration, fear, whatever emotions, I even hate. I never use word hate, because it's such a strong, for me, it's such a strong, like, like, woof. When somebody say hate, I'm always like, whoa, what's that? And people using this word unconsciously. And again, we are back to languages. Do you see? So my
language
mindset
is so linked.
My mindset is like emotions, perception, what lenses you have on, how you see things from, because if that person has, or I don't know, is not aware, you can see, because he gonna speak words which you are like, okay, do you understand?
Where did this come? Like, what?
Yeah.
I mean, it was interesting you hit the word hate. In the past, my dad used to say, never say the word hate, it's bad. And that's I mean, I can see where it's coming from. He's like, try to see the world more positively. But I could see that becoming quite toxic, because what happens if you don't acknowledge your emotion, which a lot of men don't, and you can't see where there is hatred within your heart, then you can't address it, so you let that hatred grow. So, like, there's some things you should hate, right? There's some things that, let's say, you're working and there's a process that's absolutely terrible. You should go, you know what, I hate that. Or there should be, if you're eating loads of food, lots of junk food, and you're getting fatter, you know what, you should hate the fact you're eating loads of food. You should hate it, and you should address it. Okay, why do I hate it? What's going on? Oh, it's making me put on weight. It's not making me feel good. Okay, fine. And so like you're saying, like, these emotions that we should use, we should acknowledge the low vibrations that are, those negative thoughts are there for a reason.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So when you are going through that phase, like you just says, acknowledge, don't be, even thoughts of suicide, like, this is a big dogma about that as well. Like, lots of people, when you're depressed, what emotions you have, right? You really think you're like, high vibration.
I have to stay happy.
High vibrational. And it's so hard for people, for person, because I went through when COVID hit me back in 2021, in December.
2020, yeah.
I remember it was December
2019 December.
But 2020 or 2021. I don't know which.
Was that during COVID?
Yeah.
Start of COVID was 2019.
Yeah, 2019.
Then it got 2020.
Yeah, 2021. December 2021. COVID did something to my brain. So it burned some neural path in my brain. So I wasn't capable to. Yeah, all of a sudden I woke up and I was so depressed. I was not myself at all. Even lots of people who knew me they were like, what happened to you?
Mm.
What really, like, what happened? This is not you.
Mm.
And I started crying. I couldn't really, I was in such a dark place. And of course, everything spiritual or happy, you know, those quotes, happy quotes, it literally triggered me. And I was saying, fuck off.
No, swear, fucking swear. It's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fuck you, like I had no spiritual, like I was in such a dark place.
Mm.
And that's why when Abraham Hicks says, you know, because I'm into Abraham Hicks, and she really say the truth about you cannot jump from here to over there.
Mm.
If you really, again, if you want to correct your mindset or you reprogram yourself,
Mhm.
you have to do baby steps. You
Mm.
really imagine yourself, you're just a baby
Mm.
because you're beginning.
Mm.
Like
'Cause you're relearning.
you're relearning to love yourself again, and or even the situation you are in.
Mm.
And it's so challenging, you know, for all of us.
Mm.
So of course, like you cannot really, because even those happy or positive manifestations will not work if you really not believe and you're not really
Not feeling, yeah.
feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and as well, if you're pushing yourself towards it, there is resistance.
Mm.
You create more resistance, and when you're creating more resistance, there is
Yeah.
more, you know.
Yeah, I mean, resistance is healthy
So
in some way. I mean, there's lots of things that I've done with resistance, but
and
having
as
that.
well,
Oh, sorry.
and as well, there is no, and as well, when you're in this resistance place, because this is what happened to me in December
2021. Yeah, 22.
2022. I was in the resistance place where I allowed myself to be in resistance. So you should be in this in a space of whatever it, I don't even know how to say it, like non-judgmental, you know, allow yourself to be in this resistance, because this resistance is telling you something, like you just said.
Yeah,
you know.
I think so. I think,
but it's so hard because it's like
I just want to go.
and you're like and you're like and you
It's two different
just
emotions.
just pause and just be in that moment. And present moment is really powerful moment all the time.
Because yeah, like you're saying, like, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you about the resistance thing.
Yeah.
I think I mean, you know, for me to accelerate in my job, I'd have to push past, you know, or even do kung fu, you have to push past like some resistance. So sometimes your mind is like, I can't do it. You have to be like, yes, you can.
True.
Yes, you can. Because you're training that part of you to be like, it's fine. But if you're in a place and, you know, when it comes to depression and suicide, you know, do make sure you call the Samaritans and stuff, you know, do get you know, do get the help you need. You know, that there's a lot of help available, and I'm sure, you know, you can find that on the internet. But when you are in a place where you can't,
but what I want to
say,
don't be too judgmental on
don't be too
yourself,
judgmental. Yeah.
because this is normal process. This is what I would like to say openly, because there is such a dogma about having those thoughts, you know, having those negative thoughts when we were talking before. Again, but don't be in the cycle. You have to see what cycles you are in.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And this is really, I'm coming from a very aware place. So if you're not aware of your cycles, you're gonna be again in the same loop all over the time.
Yes. Yeah.
So only you need to break the cycle. Only you can break the cycle, because you need to become aware of your own cycles and your own loops.
But like you're saying about being aware of the emotion of what's going on at that time, like a few years back, I had absolute fatigue and I couldn't get out of it. But actually, my brain was telling me, slow down.
True.
Even though the ego was going, right, we can do this, you can push past, past, my brain was like, slow down. And a lot of depression is that, slow down. Things will be okay. Just relax. You know, you don't need the antidepressants. Obviously, if you do, go, you know, there's, but you know, slow down, get some sleep. You know, you're sleeping 4 hours a night. Go sleep 8 hours. You know, make sure you're getting your diet back on track. Make sure you're doing this. Make sure you're getting the walks and stuff like that. You know, and I think it's good to recognize those emotions at those times, because they're important. Because as much as you want to be almost immortal, we're still finite beings.
Absolutely. And you said really something important which triggered my memories. So I was even helping lots of friends with depression. And you feel lethargic, lethargy, and you really like apathy, and all those, and you don't even want to move. So what you need to understand when you are in the cycle, it's important to go for a walk, go and do something with your, like, do motion, physical motions, because emotions are motions. So if there is like you can flip it all the time, because sometimes when you are depressed, your body needs to be physically active to help your brain out. If you're sometimes physically feeling lazy, your brain is, like you just said, your brain was telling me, do this, do that, do that. Do you see? So we have this inner communication. So you always have to trust your body, but please, again, be aware where this journey is leading you, right? And really, you're the only one who can help yourself. Like, you can get as much helps, as possible, and like support and friends and everything, but you need to really see what loops you're in, and your habits and your behavioral patterns. And it even goes deeper, because certain behavioral patterns, like I said, we had from family. So you really need to start investigating, did we have somebody in like ancestry, or maybe even past lives, or whatever. So I would say go and try to do like family constellation, past life, regressions. And because once you find this bubble, all the traumas are stored in our body. And to break this bubble, either you need to shake yourself, like ecstatic dance as well is really good, like movements, like motion. And because it helps the bubble to rise up, and then it breaks and you feel more liberated. This is the awareness, the consciousness of this, So, but it's your own journey. You do kung fu, and it's helping you, exactly. And you see the effect of even tai chi and the what was it? Qigong. Yeah. Qigong. So you see the positives of all the energy, like movements as well, and releasing the traumas from your body. And I really think like physical activity is one of it has to be a priority when it comes to depression.
Yes, I mean that's why I love my dog. I don't know, he's not here.
Yeah, or animals, absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't know, he's probably falling asleep, but
he is,
because of him, I have to walk twice a day, otherwise he will be upset. So for me, it's almost like a duty. But I can't imagine life now without walking an hour in the morning, 30 minutes in the afternoon. And I once or twice I haven't, I could feel it straight away. Question I've got for you, because I can see it's recurring. Are there any habits that you've personally broke that took a while? Would you like to explain like a personal story about a habit?
Oh, I had many. Which one, physical or mental? Mental ones.
Whichever
it was
one,
a journey.
Whichever. I mean, physical and mental and emotional could almost be the same thing, right? So
yeah. So fasting is another thing what breaks your habits. So I did fasting for like 2 weeks, and I was just drinking water or a little bit of like fruit juice or smoothies, or eating raw vegetables. So my first sort of like detox, or even detoxing your own body, is very important. Drinking psyllium husk is very beneficial because it gets rid of your parasite. And as well, this is another thing, when you have parasites inside your body, they can affect you because they're different sort of like entities, right, inside of you. So fasting, detoxing is another step towards like healthier way of thinking or healthier mindset from my point of view. When I first started detoxing myself, it was like 10 years ago. I had something with my colon, and I had to stop eating nearly everything, like even drinking coffee. So sugar is one of the
Most addictive substance.
yeah. So get rid of the sugar. Like everywhere where is sugar is not bad. Is bad. Sorry, it's not. Is bad. Yeah. So detox. So I had to change all my diet. No bread, no pasta, no rice, no milk, no like milk or cheese products, no coffee, no chocolate. What else? Like there was lots of like, and I was thinking like, what the heck? I should
No fun. Yeah.
But I stick to the diet for like nearly 3 months, and it broke my habit or no meat. So it really broke my habit of eating, like this. And I realized after years that even the eating, what we eat, is just a habit.
Yeah.
And for me, this was like the most major, because now I don't, it's not like I eat because I need food.
Yeah.
There is not this habit of, oh, I need like this survival mode, or I don't. Yeah, this.
So you get like emotional connection between.
Yeah, you break as
feeling
well.
of hunger.
Exactly. Yeah, you even break this emotional connection. Like you don't feel angry. Like some people, when they are hungry, they change to little babies. Why? Right? Why? Because they didn't manage to break this connection yet. Another habit is the way how I think. So the version you see me now, the version who speaks, is it developed through years. And even when I moved here to this country, I was completely different than from the version I'm like now. I was as well very judgmental, because I grew up in Slovakia. There is different mentality, different openness, and I think London or UK gave me this, that I could be more open and be more myself.
And do you think that's because you're in London, or do you think that's because you changed the environment and there was a place for you to grow?
Yeah, I changed the environment, absolutely. Yes.
So when it comes to food, actually, food is an interesting one, because I mean, obviously, there's a lot of people with eating disorders or obese, especially now. We've got a lot of obese people around, and I was quite a fat kid, as I said.
But this is normal. I was fat as well.
But did you find this is plumping?
Yeah, I had like maybe 100 kilos.
Did you
when
find
I was
that?
a teenager?
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
But did you find that when you did go on that fast, like you actually felt those emotions come up that weren't exhibited through childhood? And I'd love to talk about the kind of emotions that you were going through at that time.
It did, because in Slovakia, or in my family, it wasn't back then, like I'm talking now, 20 years ago or even more. It wasn't like now, like healthy food, or it wasn't that like promotion or well-being, or nothing like that. Imagine 20 years ago here and 20 years ago in Slovakia, right? It's a huge difference. Because we are two different countries, and we are two different, like consciousness, and as well the way of how we think. And as well, it was because you were more part of maybe American sort of like style, and Slovakia is sort of like Central Europe.
Yeah.
And as well, I grew up in a village, so this as well influenced everything. How I grew up, like how I was brought up. And we were like a little farm, so we had always animals. We had pigs, we had chickens. I was the one who was, killing them.
Slaughtering them.
So, I'm the chicken
Did you assign them names before you killed them?
No, no. This
We've
is
got
too
Jerry
funny.
who's coming out then.
So I see it part of a normal cycle, because when you grab your own animals, it's normal, and then you make products. And I was always like chef in our like family house, and I was like preparing food and always like eating good.
Mhm.
But now when I see it, it wasn't like eating good. It was
Mm.
just because it was like we had lots of meat, like
Mm.
meat diet. We had lots of pork, chicken,
Yeah.
turkey, like sausages and all the hams, and
Wow. Yeah.
like it's very,
Carnivore diet.
very, yeah, absolutely. So I don't know how, like now I'm more conscious what I put inside my body and the quantity
Yeah.
as well, because our stomach or our body doesn't need a lot of food to sustain the energy.
No.
So once you start understanding that you can sustain yourself from different sources as well, like even energy, there are those people who don't eat like for what? How they call it?
Just fast for.
They know that there is a special name for it, and they say they have the energy from the source.
Right. So they completely starve themselves
Literally,
and they don't
they
eat
don't.
at all.
Yeah, they actually don't start. It happened to me twice, dude. I was, like I said, out 2 weeks without no food, and I wasn't hungry. There was no. I was connected to some source or whatever, which sustained my whole body and my whole energy levels.
Right.
And I was just what I was
Just
doing. I
drinking
was just
water.
drinking water, and sometimes I had a little bit of food, but I wasn't hungry at all. There was no like I
Desire
want
to eat.
desire. Thank you, desire for food.
Right.
So you can reach that stage, but obviously
It can be quite
it.
tricky.
Yes,
And the emotions you have to go through.
So what emotion brought up? I can't remember any emotional, but I just remember that my dad was telling me, "Oh, you're too fat. Nobody wants you. So this, nobody gonna want you or something like
Yeah.
that." So yeah, I think these lenses of my dad seeing me because I was, and as well when it comes to female and male, you have as well hormonal changes. So this is part of your losing or gaining weight, because hormones are very important. Like we are a structure. We work on chemistry. Everything is chemistry. Emotions are chemistry from our brain, and it's connection to our hormones as well. So it's apparent. There are. I read something that if you want to lose weight, you need to check your hormones as well, because there is some connection with the hormones, and I think it's really true.
Yeah, I mean, if when women go through menopause, you could see it, like their bone structure. That's why you start asking to eat more soy milk and look after their calcium. And the same with like if testosterone drops, your muscle, the amount of muscle you can gain drops, and that's why a lot of like even Joe Rogan, he quite happily admits to it. He takes testosterone replacement therapy just to keep his muscles strong. And yeah, massive difference. Hormones do make a difference, and even like what you eat. So I take supplements, I take zinc, and that changes like my energy levels. That can make me go 100 miles an hour, and that's just zinc. So but also something I found when I was losing weight, and I think you've hit it on the head. I didn't feel any emotions. It's just the emotion I felt was at the time was, oh, my mum's not giving me food, thank goodness. And at the time, because I felt very compelled to eat her food.
I was just thinking. I think when I'm start to revoke the memories when I start the first diet, because I had to, because of my colon. And then I think the first emotion was like, what I'm gonna eat, right? I was like, it's not like end of the world, I'm gonna but you really have things like I was doing chickpeas and lentils and lots of like fresh salads, spinach, broccoli. So there is, and after 2 weeks, because first 2 weeks are like dreadful, I'm like shit again, this smooth, so you go through those emotions of like not accepting it.
Yeah, because you're
like there is
resistance.
There is this and as well you shading your old self to your new self.
Yes.
And this is the realization what I would like to as well point out. In every situation, you have to realize that you're shading the consciousness of your old self to your new self.
So that resistance is really you, in a way, slaying your old self.
Yeah.
Like, but like you're, it's fighting for its life.
Yeah.
And it's not helpful to you.
Yeah.
So it's gonna fight no matter what, because it wants to survive. Either way, it's got a will of its own.
Yeah.
So like when those 2 weeks that you were,
we are sometimes schizophrenic. You know, like that movie Split.
Yeah.
We have too many personalities.
But I mean, like, you can see that in people, right? Where, like,
seriously,
if
absolutely.
they're resisting against something, like, especially, I mean, when I've spoken to people who I've not seen in a while and they've cut me off and I said, hi, how's it going? I said, you should come over. And you can see that their old self is like, yes, please. And then they're new, there's like certain personas or masks they put on. They go, no. And you can see that there's a battle going on between the two, and that one is like putting him back into the chest because it's not quite slayed it yet.
Yeah, and this is so interesting because you triggered another memory. When you're going through this resistance phase, it's interesting what we humans do. We're pointing fingers.
You do this, yeah.
Or the situation, or no. And it's so interesting when you are self-aware. When you are in that moment, I start laughing.
I know it's really awkward. We both do it.
Like, oh my god, what am I doing?
I don't laugh.
So
because it's not seeing the joke between the two.
Yeah, exactly. And laughter is another. You have to laugh about everything, because when you start taking stuff seriously, it's like some things needs to be taken seriously, but it's good to laugh about, like even about yourself, what you're going through. Laughter is really medicine for your heart and to elevate, to raise your vibrations as well.
So I'm going to wrap up soon, because I think Alicia wants to come to the store again. So if there's a message that you would like to give from this conversation we've had, and of course we're going to have many conversations after, and I really hope so, what would your message be to obviously the Pocket Pals group or just everyone in general?
First of all, thank you so much, Jude. Thank you. Thank you for the idea and your dedication towards toward this kind of podcast. I think it's really beneficial for all of us, because I say sharing is really important. I even say that to one of the medium recently. She called me and she asked my advice, and I mentioned, I keep remembering people, sharing is very important. It doesn't matter if you are a psychic medium, if you are no, there is no difference. We all are psychic, we all have those gifts. We all can be the gurus or whatever, and we all go through the same or similar patterns and emotions or whatever we go situations. Maybe they are wrapped in different whatever it is, but it's similar. The energy or the base is similar. And if you don't share, if you start sharing, when I start sharing how I felt when I was depressed, I was really like in Eve, like how many people feeling this way, and they were even opening up to me, like, oh, I felt this way, this and this is, and I went through this and that, and even you feel like support, but you feel like you are even helping them, even at your lowest place, you helping. And that's why sharing, don't be afraid to share what you're going through in a conscious way.
Yes.
Of course, if you start checking, oh, she called me and she did this, and I mean, I don't, obviously,
I don't want to know about you.
But if you start sharing it, and like just share. Share.
Sharing is caring.
Sharing is absolutely caring,
and obviously in a conscious way. Sharing is caring in a conscious way. I like that. And I like that's a good note to end on. Thank you, Moka.
What about you?
Okay, so something that came from today. Of course. Well, I mean, you're talking about being serious, and it's just, And actually, it's something that Alan Watts said, and it's a nice little quote, which is, and it's a story. And a husband was laughing all the time, and the wife goes, "Are you ever serious?" He goes, "No, darling, I'm sincere." So anyway, thank you guys, and
Thank you, guys.
see you around.
See you.
There's some music in the background. How do you do? Leave studio.
Leave, yeah.
End session.